Hello and welcome to Coffee with the Journalist, a podcast by One Pitch, featuring the tech industry's most well-known journalists. The goal of our show is to uncover the real person behind the real stories you love to read. We discuss their beat and news coverage, what their inbox looks like, and a whole lot more. On today's show, we're joined by Joel Shannon, a reporter for USA Today's Nation Now team. Joel covers trending news stories including weather, health, and national news, and recently has covered stories about COVID-19. On the episode, Joel shares about the unique way Now News works with local news publications, why pitching him might be tough, how he works with beat writers from USA Today, and more. Let's hear more from Joel on today's episode.
Hey everyone, welcome to Coffee with a Journalist. Today we have on Joel Shannon, who's going to delight us with his knowledge of San Diego, hopefully, because he's based down here, like me, Joel, which is great, and all the stuff that you do for USA Today, which is amazing. I'm excited to chat with you. Are you drinking anything right now, since it's late in the afternoon?
Not right now. I was hoping to have some Pete's today, so maybe that'll happen.
Yeah, that's a good choice. I like to go to Blue Bottle.
Oh, yeah, it's good.
First off, for folks who don't know, because your title is a little bit unusual for those who perhaps don't know, so you're writing specifically for the Now section for USA Today, and you are a multi-platform journalist. What does that mean?
I think that's something I put on just as kind of a stock thing when I first started on. But yeah, I'm kind of a Now reporter. When I write, I tend to do a lot of Now stories, which are kind of quick trending stories and kind of related breaking news too. So we kind of look at generally Now stories a little bit different than breaking.
Okay.
Breaking news is the kind of is the newsier stuff. That's the shootings, fires, that kind of stuff. That's kind of, the big news of the moment. Now stories tend to be trendier things. They often are a little lighter, but it's a little bit less time sensitive as far as breaking right now. So I kind of started off mainly doing the trending stories. That's kind of like the kind of stuff we like to do is murder hornets. I did that story. The kind of lighter, it's kind of like to balance out kind of the news of the day. So yeah, we try to entertain and delight is what we like to do. And whenever we can, we do that.
Yeah.
So I do the trending stuff and then also breaking. So a lot of coronavirus stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then that's the writing side. And then also part of the Now team is also working with our network properties. So our several hundred network papers that are around the country, the daily newspapers. We have got them in Phoenix, Detroit, all that through Gannett.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're kind of looking to see what they have that's kind of trendy or newsy. And I'm involved in the team that kind of will bring that over. We'll edit the stories for kind of national and post that on our site too. So it's kind of a little bit of everything from the news side. But yeah, that's kind of what I do.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot. Is your inbox a disaster with pitches?
Especially since coronavirus, it's a lot. It's a lot to go through. Yeah, it's kind of just a struggle to get to the stuff that is, from editors and all that, especially if you have a couple of days off. So yeah, there's a lot in the inbox.
How do you keep it all organized?
I wish I had a better system. I kind of just go through and just scan. I try to stay on top of it in the moment, like checking it enough that I kind of know if there's something important. And then kind of when I sign on at the beginning of the day, just go through and purge anything that's just not relevant. It seems like somewhere along the way I've gotten put on several distro lists that send me a lot of things that aren't really in what I'm doing. And I'm a tough journalist to pitch to because I don't have a kind of a beat that I cover. So I might write a story on murder hornets, but I'm not the murder hornet reporter. So all of a sudden now I'm getting all of these incremental pitches about murder hornets.
Oh, no.
I get a lot of pitches that really kind of in my wheelhouse, mainly because the stories I'm writing, if I'm picking a story, it's going to be, one that is trending at the moment and high interest. And so I'll go to my pitches sometimes for background or whatever, but it's hard to pitch to me, unfortunately.
Yeah. So speaking of, have you written at all in relative recent times a story from a pitch?
Not recently that I can remember. I do remember going back and using some things that were pitched to me within a story I was writing already. In the past, when I've done that, it's usually an editor has gotten someone that it's been pitched to someone who's more on the beat. And so they kind of say, this is good. Like I cover this topic and this is a good thing. I don't have the bandwidth to do it, or this seems like it could be trendy, and it kind of gets passed back to the now side of things. So a lot of times that'll be like studies or survey kind of things. I remember doing several of those where a business will do a survey that's kind of off a newsy topic, and then we'll cover that in some way. That's the one I can remember.
God, so you're quite unpredictable.
Just because, my job is to kind of live in the moment, and often I'm looking for, a lot of times when I'm picking a story to pop up through several different mediums. So, an editor might say something about, hey, there's this murder hornet thing. And usually, unless it's a direct assignment, that's not quite enough for me to say I'm interested in writing that. Usually I need to see, oh, it's trending on Twitter, or, oh, in theory, possibly I've gotten 15 pitches about that. So I kind of want to hear about it from multiple sources, and that tells me this is kind of a buzzy topic. So yeah, it's an interesting process.
Speaking of, it's because you have to be so in the now, as you just mentioned. How do you know the stories you need to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's that there's a little bit of intuition about knowing that, oh, we had a similar story do well. We know that this is something that's really important to our audience. So there's a part of that where sometimes there's a story I wrote this weekend did really well. And it was, I think I saw it one place, it was something off a coronavirus party and kind of a doctor's warning off of that. And I knew that was something that was high interest. And so kind of prioritized that instantly. But often it's more of, I'm very skeptical of stories and trends because it takes a little bit of time to report out a story, and you want to kind of make sure that it's one that is going to be worth your time. So often it is kind of looking for a topic to reach you in multiple ways, and that's usually a very good indicator that this is something people care about. And that can come from a lot of things. It can come from searching, we use tools to mine social media to kind of see what people are talking about. So seeing a trend there.
Okay, so you're looking for Google Trends, social media trends.
Yeah, what competitors have. If you start seeing that, everyone has the story and we don't, that's a big sign that we missed something. It's just kind of all of those things, and it's very situational, and definitely kind of when new people come onto the team, it's you kind of have to tell them it's an art, not a science.
Yeah,
you can't just say instantly, if you see this trending on Twitter, we should definitely write it. Because it depends on the topic, it depends on lots of different things, and often it's a cost benefit of how long is this story going to take to report out, to verify, and all that versus how much interest there can be.
Oh yeah, I never thought about the balance of that. Of okay, I cover trends, I cover what's now, but I have to have the time in order to do the story and to do it well. Ooh.
That's one of the reasons why that story about the coronavirus party.
Yeah.
Because I saw, as local media was covering it, I saw that it looked like a statement from the doctor directly that they were reporting off of. So we have now a first person, even though it's public out there, it's the authorities saying this thing. I don't have to trust, a local media source or whatever. I know I've got it directly from the source, and I was able to reach out and get the video directly. So that didn't take very long, and it got us a trending story that was relevant to readers. So that's kind of the balance. You start getting into trending stories that are tougher to verify, or things that it might be tough to track down the source, or we have to trust local media on the reporting. That's kind of a bigger time commitment to look into.
Are you stressed with this? Just weighing between those two things, and then you have to be monitoring the art of it, of what is trending, what is relevant, what will be the most. I mean, I know that's every journalist's concern, of course, but it's very different if your beat is Amazon and e-commerce versus now. You cover now. That's what you cover.
Yeah, I would say, I think as you get used to it, you kind of find the balance, and definitely it's less stressful as you kind of get used to it. I remember kind of when I came on, and felt a little overwhelmed and talked to people that have been doing it for 2 or 3 years, and they're like, yeah, you get in the flow, and you do, and you kind of know what stories are the ones that are going to cause you more stress, and which ones are the ones that are not. So you get that kind of thing, and there's a lot of support. There's a lot of now people, there's a lot of now editors, very good about kind of having support and being able to talk through things. Knowing that there's someone that's got your back is a big help.
How are you guys working now all together? I mean, obviously the whole staff is everywhere, but particularly for COVID, they're dispersed, so no one's going into an actual office. Are you guys on calls every day?
I think the biggest thing we found helpful is calls. I know I kind of work in the middle of the day, so I kind of work a little bit with dayside people and nightside people. And there's kind of 2 calls a day that we do with different groups in that time period. And those check-ins are super helpful. And then kind of, at least how I work and how the night shift tends to work, is more of in between those. It's a lot of, we use Teams, but, Slack kind of thing, just staying in touch there. And then, obviously calls and all that as needed. But big thing that we found is really helpful, even before COVID, was doing these like check-ins, sometimes with a big group, sometimes with a small group. But especially the small groups are very helpful, kind of what everyone's doing, what you're struggling with, and all that, and talking it out as a group for 20 or 30 minutes. That really kind of pulls the crew together.
Oh, that's nice to get on a call. Like, what's the struggle? What are you working with? What's happening? It's not working.
Today's interview will continue after this brief message brought to you by One Pitch. Are you curious to learn more about the unique ways One Pitch helps connect journalists with brands and sources? Head to onepitch.co for more information about how we're helping each side save time and connect more effectively. Sign up for your free account today. Now, back to today's episode.
Okay, I want to play, Joel, a word association game, if you're down for it. Are you ready?
Sure.
You just say the first thing that comes to your mind. Here we go. Food.
Hot dogs. I'm going to have those later.
Hot dogs. I mean, it is summer. Okay.
I looked at like the New York Times like best hot dog list or something. I'm going to go out and grill them.
Really?
Yeah.
You're the first hot dog answer I've heard. Okay, let's go. Drink.
Beer. I love San Diego for IPAs. I liked IPAs before I came out here, and this is the IPA capital. So yeah, that's pretty great.
Hobby,
maybe it's off of what I just was saying, but grilling. I love grilling. We have at our apartment complex, we have a nice grill by the pool that's open now if you make a reservation.
Good.
Yeah, I love to grill. I'm not sure how good I am at it, but it's fun.
Got it. That's very summery. Well, and you're in San Diego, you could do it pretty much year round.
Yeah.
Present day.
COVID.
PR.
Maybe, I don't know why this word popped into my mind, because I think it's...
you gotta tell us.
I don't think it's fair. But I think sometimes I just think of the frustrating things I'll have. This doesn't tend to happen a lot. It just kind of, it's great when I can work with someone in PR that's like really responsive, and always frustrating when, I'm working on a now story, as we've talked about, kind of, tight deadlines, unfairly tight deadlines on anyone in PR. I know that. I feel like, as many journalists do, feel like kind of a jerk, being like, I got to write this story in 2 hours. I need to talk to an expert. And it's frustrating on my end when that's not possible, but totally understandable, because like that's a crazy ask.
Yeah.
So just that kind of struggle of I know I'm asking a lot from my PR contacts, but it's always frustrating when it doesn't come through. So that's a long word association.
No, that's fine. Sometimes they go into combos like this. What about San Diego?
I just love San Diego. It's been here like 2 years, and I mean, just the weather's great. I just love the vibe here. We don't have a dog, but I just love that dogs are everywhere here. I don't know. It just like lifts your spirits every time you go anywhere. The food's great. When I was back on the East Coast, just never really connected with the beaches, and they were, quite a ways to get to from where I was in central Pennsylvania. And now just being like, we're 20 minutes from the beach, it's just great to go there and take a walk and unwind. So I love San Diego.
Oh, I'm with you. I'm a native, so that's fantastic. Okay, journalism.
Hard. I don't know. It's a lot of work. It's very rewarding. I love especially kind of what I'm doing, where I feel like the stories I write, I often, feel very good about how they're truthful, fair, accurate, all of that good stuff. And that's hard to do. And then also just the fact that they're of interest to a lot of people and kind of help support the business. It's a hard thing to do, but it's very rewarding, that part of it. So
what about pitch?
It just because of what I said before, just the overwhelming number of things I get in my inbox, it's just frustrating and overwhelming. Yeah.
How many emails would you say you get a day? Let's narrow it. How many pitches do you get a day?
And it's mostly pitches. I would say 150 to 200 emails a day.
Wow.
And they definitely come in batches. I think 9 a.m. East Coast time, I just get hit with 30 emails every day.
Wow.
I remember thinking, kind of hearing about that when I started at other places, hearing people talk about cleaning out their inbox.
You're like, haha, no way.
Yeah. I totally understand why I'm on these lists and everything, but there's just a lot of stuff that isn't relevant to me.
I don't know how you stay sane. Is your inbox, by the way, do you get it to zero? Are you one of those people?
Oh, no. I gave up on that a long time ago. My inbox zero is just getting through all the things since my last shift. So I kind of know once I get back to, unread stuff, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm caught up.
Well, what are you reading? Anything?
I wish I read more. I've tried a couple times. I tried to get back into that, but it's, I think I tend to just read a lot of news, which is totally understandable. I'm watching Hamilton. I just finally did that.
Oh, did you love it?
I did. Yeah, it was something I'd heard about for quite a while and didn't know a ton about it, other than I know people loved it. And when I watched it, I was like, oh, I get it. It was good. But yeah, it's just a lot of news. I have so many subscriptions to newspapers now too, that's kind of what I do. So it's like 4 or 5 subscriptions I've got.
Oh, which ones? Tell us. We got to know.
New York Times and Washington Post I've had for quite a while. Since moving out here, I got the UT and LA Times. I think those are the 4 I'm subscribed to that are daily newspapers. And then
wow, the Union Tribune. What are you, one of the last 300 people that read that? I grew up reading it, trust me.
Yeah, so I like their coronavirus dashboard. I got that kind of up on my phone to kind of check in every now and again.
Good. Okay, well now I want to talk about the future journalism, what you think. I'm not going to tell you what I've been hearing this whole season. Let's see what you say, Joel. But what do you think? What do you think about the future journalism?
I do think I'm seeing, more and more success with, subscriber stuff, paywalls, kind of shifting back in that direction. We always are kind of looking at ways of elevating our coverage. Just on my team, kind of the move we've made and not entirely shifted philosophies, but we've kind of started doing more in-depth reporting than maybe we would have like 2 years ago. So there's definitely kind of a move for more, original reporting, stuff that you can't get elsewhere, quality journalism. So, and kind of with that, the subscription dollars. So I think kind of subscriptions in some form is what I see being a trend in the future. But yeah, there's a bunch of different ways you can take the future of journalism for sure.
Well, are you then optimistic about it?
Yeah, I'm optimistic in that I think that trend, if it does pan out, is a good trend. It's just good for society. Mm-hmm. I'm optimistic in that that's a better trend than the other way of, less quality and, faster stories and all that kind of contributing to the noise. I feel like if the trend of kind of elevating more original reporting, all that becomes dominant, I think that's good for society and good for journalism for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're another optimistic person I've had on this season, not first season, but definitely this season, which is refreshing, especially now. I've been doing all these in the middle of COVID and yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I think you see this COVID crisis has kind of shown that there's such value in, in what we do. I've done 1 or 2 of these myself, but we've got a whole team that's doing fact checks, and people crave that because there's so much misinformation out there. And so,
oh gosh,
I think we've got a partnership with Facebook that allows us to do this, but that kind of thing it takes a lot of work to do fact checks, and they're so valuable, especially when there's just so much misinformation out there from every source. So, yeah. Just that bit tells you that there's a tremendous appetite for clarity and knowledge when there's confusion. So that's been positive to see.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we could have a whole other conversation about that, but we don't have time for that today, Joel. We're going to do instead our last little part here, which is our fun journalist Mad Libs. So I will guide you through this, and then I will read you back what we get. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, first off, what's just a catchphrase?
Catchphrase. Wait, democracy dies in darkness. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm. You're the second person who's used that one. What about a scare phrase that journalists hear?
Correction in all caps.
Oh, correct. Oh. Okay, what about an empowering buzzword that journalists hear?
Helpful? I don't know. Helpful is not a very good answer, but that's the first thing that popped in my mind.
Okay, got you. What about just an adjective?
Quickly.
And then part of a pitch.
New biotech study. How's that?
Okay, great. Then another adjective.
Slowly.
What about another part of a pitch?
Maybe we'll just do the anatomy of the pitch, like contact information.
Okay, contact info. Yep. Amount of time.
2 hours.
Okay. Another adjective.
Wonderfully.
And then a singular noun.
Joel.
You.
Yeah, me. Why not?
Excellent. Okay, topic.
Murder hornets.
Oh, this is going to be a good one. Okay, and then a verb ending in ing.
Running.
And then what about just a regular whatever verb?
Cry.
Okay. All right, are you ready, Joel? I'm going to read this back.
I don't know, maybe.
It's going to be good. Okay, to me, journalism is democracy dying in the dark. It consists of all caps corrections and helpful information on the daily. If a pitch has a quick new study, I will absolutely respond to it. However, if a pitch has a slow contact information section, you can expect no reply from me. If 2 hours goes by and you don't hear an email back from me, you can just assume I am not wonderful about it. The best stories always have my name and are usually about murder hornets. And the best way to reach me is by running it to me, but you can also cry over to me.
That's funny. It's good stuff.
That was a good one. How do you feel? A little bit accurate?
Yeah, there's some truth in there for sure.
There's some truth for sure. I love it. They're surprisingly accurate, we have found. Well, Joel, thank you for being on today. This was fun.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This is fun.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Coffee with the Journalist featuring Joel Shannon from USA Today. If you like our show, make sure to subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and leave us a review if you enjoyed what you've heard. If you'd like to learn more about OnePitch, head to our website at onepitch.co to see the unique ways we're helping journalists and public relations professionals start great stories. We'll be back next week with an all-new guest and even more insights about the tech journalist you want to learn more about. Until then, start great stories.